أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Thank you once again to all of you who have joined us for the MUS online class book 6. And today is the 9th session. My name is Ali Jaffri, and we've been learning from book 6 of the Majlis Ulama curriculum for the past 8 weeks or so. If you can have your notebook and pen available, the same one that you've been using all this time, that will be great. And inshallah, we'll continue with our lesson. So today is Aqaid and Fiqh. As you're aware that we do alternate Aqaid, Fiqh, and Akhlaq history. And this week is Aqaid and Fiqh. If you have any questions, please ask in the chat section. I will leave the chat open for everyone, but if it gets too busy, then I'll restrict it to the teacher only. If you do want to say something, let me know, and I can unmute the mic as well if you want to talk your question out. Just a reminder that we are on book 6, and hopefully you would have covered book 1 to 5, and then there is book 7 after this as well. If you haven't got the books, then you can download them from the Majlis Ulama website, and I'd recommend if you have a copy of the PDF of the book, it's about £1 only, but it's a good reference material for yourself for different topics. Let's get our intention right. I hope you all know this intention by heart. And this is a practice that not only for this class, but everything that you do, try and have an intention so that your normal act can be converted into worship, and you get sawab for it. So our intention together, your and mine, is that I want to learn to follow my religion properly, become a better person, and support my Imam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten his reappearance, inshallah. We start our lesson with the verse from the Holy Quran, which is also a dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My Lord, increase me in knowledge, with a prayer to Allah that please help us increase in knowledge, because without Allah's help, nothing is possible. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and really ask for his assistance and his tawfiq to increase our knowledge. So today, the first part is Aqaid, and we are going to be discussing Imamat today. As you are aware, that Imamat is a huge topic, and you would have learned Imamat in different ages and different books from different people. And inshallah, going forward, whatever age you are, going forward, you will be learning Imamat even more in your coming years, all the way up to when you're, when you are really old. You'll still keep on learning about Imamat. There's different levels, and we cover Imamat at different levels. As long as you understand Imamat and believe in Imamat, that makes you a Shia Muslim. But your knowledge about Imamat will keep on increasing as the years pass by, inshallah. So, like always, I have created some questions here just for you to think. And some of them that I've put on is why do we need an Imam? And that this question can come up in your mind, in any other Muslim's mind, or even non-Muslims. Why do we need an Imam? And specifically for the Muslims, you could think that we have the Holy Quran, and it said that all the guidance and knowledge is in the Holy Quran verses. The Quran itself says that every wet and dry, information related, all information related to all wets and dries in the world is in the Quran. And then we had 124,000 prophets to explain the religion, with the final prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. to explain all the verses of the Holy Quran, and we have a number of hadiths available. So why do we need an Imam? Secondly, the question comes into our mind, we have, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us our intellect, or what's also called our aql. And this is an interesting concept, because the rights and wrongs, the goods and bads, everything, it's your intellect would tell you, is this a good thing to do or not thing to do, not a good thing to do. So if there is a fire, for example, then without knowing the Quran or the Prophet, your mind says that this is hot and we should not touch it because it will get burned. And similarly, any good thing that you hear, all the non-Muslims are doing so-called a very fantastic job with learning and discoveries and inventions. All those things are happening, and there's lots of knowledge and scholars and philosophers, teachers, everyone around, and ourselves as well. We've got aql, and we can decide for ourselves. Why do we need an imam? Then a question could come into your mind, that we have scholars to answer all the questions. So we have our Maraje, we have our scholar in our local community center or mosque. We have lots of Maulanas you can ring up and find out any answers. There are lots of books. Why do we need an imam? And also that we are educated ourselves. So you have a certain level of education in your school and college. I've been to university. Some people have been to multiple universities and done multiple courses and trainings and all that. So we have a lot of education in terms of knowledge. So why do we need an imam then? And finally, a question could come into your mind that everything is just working fine right now, and there are certain times where you would even forget that you have an imam in a day, even though you're meant to remember the imam of a time, or always. But because everything is just working fine, you wake up, you do your normal things, you eat, drink, play, sleep, learn, be with people. Everything is just working fine, and then you go back to sleep. Next day comes in, and until someone passes away or dies. So why do we need an imam? So all these questions come up, and the answers to all these questions explain the need of imam. Anyone else has got any questions? Do you sometimes think that why do we need an imam? Is there a need for an imam in your daily life, or in anywhere in the world? Or, we have our government people to run the countries. We have our different managers running organizations. So we'll come to why do we need an imam. But what question that comes to your mind about imam? Like, do we need an imam or not? Anyone else? Thank you. I think it's Tahira. So thank you, Tahira, for your comment. We'll come to that in a second. Sarah says, yeah, we need imams. Okay, but are these questions that I've put forward, are they valid questions? Do you sometimes think of that or hear other people saying this? Yeah, again, good comment, Sarah, about Imam can help us in difficult times. But if you talk to this to someone who doesn't believe in Imams, then they would have that concept. So how would you explain that? That if difficult time comes, then it will just either get solved or get passes away. But yeah, okay, all right. So these are some of the questions that may come to your mind or come in other people's mind. Let's talk about the need of imamat. And in one sentence, if we can explain this to ourselves and for everyone's as well, that an Imam is needed for guidance. So Imam, the literal meaning of an Imam is a leader, and we'll talk about leadership in a moment. But Imam is needed for guidance, and guidance could be in any aspect of life, and guidance could even be in like difficult times or explaining Prophet's message, for example. But ultimately, Imam is required for guidance. And in this existing time, and also answering our questions, the way we explain it is the Holy Quran is there, but the Holy Quran doesn't have direct instructions in it all the time. So it has some direct instructions, but it doesn't provide any detail on those instructions. And some of the details of the Quran have been explained in Hadith, but obviously Prophet had a limited. Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, Zahira, please can you check your internet connection? It might be connection problem. So some of the details of the Holy Quran's verses are explained in Hadith, but because the Prophet was with us for a limited number of years only between us, he didn't have the time to explain every single verse from the Holy Quran for the coming times. So he explained everything for that time, but he didn't had that enough time to explain what is about to come in all the hundreds of years after him. So that was a gap. And Imams, because there's always an Imam in this world after the Prophet, that means we have someone to explain the Quran and Hadith all the time. And yeah, so it's not it's not just the Prophet or the Quran. You need someone to carry on that message, as someone mentioned. The next point is Imams provide leadership, and we do see a lot of people guiding us and leading us. For example, you have your teachers who will tell you what to study and what to do. You have your parents for your day-to-day life. You have, if you are working somewhere, then you have a manager. You have different people who run the country or run your local area, like your ministers and other people. So there's lots of people who provide guidance, but they all provide guidance, leadership. They lead you, so they tell you what to do, basically. And they all tell you what to do in a particular area only related to them. But a leader is someone who you follow in every aspect of your life, and also someone that you can say that you belong to. So if we say that Allah is our master and our creator and our leader, then everyone can say the same thing, and Allah provides that leadership. Allah tells us exactly what to do. Then the Prophet was our leader, and we could say for all the Muslims, the Prophet was a role model and example, and we followed him in every way, and he's given us guidance in every way possible. Similarly, Imams, when the Prophet passed away, then Allah created a system of Imamat, which means that now Imams are our leaders. So if we need guidance on a particular matter, then we will always ultimately go to our leader. There might be people in between who we can seek our guidance from, like I mentioned, our local Maulana, for example, or a scholar or our marja. But ultimately, the guidance and leadership comes from the Imam. And the final point is the most important one, that an Imam is a link between Allah and His creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is someone who we can try and understand, but we have too many sins, we have too many weaknesses, and we are simply not able to talk to Allah directly or even understand who Allah is. So Allah appointed some people as imams, and they are the people who understand Allah a lot better than us, and Allah chose them to explain who He is and what He wants, uh, so they can explain it to all creation. And I haven't used the word humans in here. I've used all creation because when we mention the word Imam, and an Imam appointed by Allah, he is not just an Imam for humans only. He is the Imam for all creation. So every living thing and every non-living thing, Imam is a leader for. Obviously, because we are humans, we only understand it from a human perspective. But our belief is that Imam is a guide and leader for animals, for plants, for stones, for sun and the moon, and for example, jinns. Every creation that Allah has done, Imam is the leader and guidance for them. So let's just have a look on who is an Imam. Like, how can someone become an Imam, or who what are the qualities? So in summary, we have 7 qualities that should be present in a person to become an Imam. The first one is that, and these are all our beliefs. So aqaid is our belief system, and we need to have a firm belief that an Imam and all our 12 Imams have these qualities. So the first one is Allah must appoint him. So Imam is not appointed by his father or the people around him or by himself or a government or anyone else, but Allah appoints the Imam. Second is that he must be a masoom. So we have discussed masoom in previous classes. Masoom doesn't mean that he can't sin. He has the ability to sin, but he fears Allah and he knows Allah so much that he never sins. Imam must be present as long as mankind continues to exist on earth. So there's always an Imam present, and this is after the Prophet. So the world has never been empty without an Imam. Number 4 is that he must have direct support from Allah. So Imam doesn't do anything by himself. He is that link between us and Allah, and Allah supports him in all ways possible, whether it's via angels or via talking to him via something. But Allah always supports the Imam, and he does everything that Allah wants him to do. It is kind of like a duty or a role, like you have different roles in your school, for example. Then your teacher has support from your head teacher. It's kind of that example. He must be aware everything that people do. So Imam has got some special qualities, obviously because he has direct support from Allah. He's so pure as well that he knows what's happening, not just in people's actions, but in people's mind as well. And this is our firm belief. And inshallah, like going forward, you will make your belief firmer. That right now, this lesson that we are doing, Imam Mehdi, Ajalallahu Ta'ala Faraj Sharif, knows that we are learning, and he is aware of all of us and our intentions, and he knows that everything that is happening, including this lesson as well. And if you have this feeling in your mind that Imam knows everything that you're doing, then obviously that will have an impact on your actions. So the Imam must be aware of all the needs of mankind as well, because he is responsible. Imam not only just is aware of what's happening, but he's aware of all the needs as well. So all the du'as and prayers that we do, Imam is aware of them. He asks Allah on our behalf for our du'as, and obviously Allah sometimes grants us. And last time we talked about dua, that sometimes dua is answered, sometimes it's not answered, sometimes it's left for the next world. But Imam helps us in getting our du'as answered, and it's also important to know that du'as are answered by Allah only. Imam is a wasila, or someone that we go via. So we say that, for the sake of Imam, please accept our du'as and prayers. But we never ask directly from Imam. Imam does have special powers, as I said, so he can grant things, but all that is via the will of Allah. And lastly, there must be only one Imam at a time. So we have seen in history that during Imam Ali's time, we had Imam Ali and Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein all alive at the same time. And sometimes one Imam and his son is alive at the same time. We saw that in Karbala as well, that Imam Hussein, Imam Zainul Abidin, and Imam Baqir was alive at the same time. But there's only one Imam, and all the other Imams who are about to come need to follow that Imam. So let's look at some of the mentions of Imamat in the Quran and Hadith. So the first Imam, or the word Imamat, came in the Quran in Surah Baqarah, when Allah said that when Abraham was tested by his Lord with certain commands and he fulfilled them, he said, I appoint you an Imam of the mankind. Then in Ghadir, this ayah was revealed that, O Messenger, make known what has been revealed to you by your Lord, and if you do not, you will not have conveyed his message. This is the time when Imam Ali was appointed as the first Imam. And then when Prophet was passing away, his last sermon, he said, I'm leaving behind you two heavy trusts, the book of Allah and my chosen descendants. So as long as you adhere to them, you will never go astray. So the Holy Prophet said that after him, the book of Allah and the Imams and his Ahlul Bayt would be the source of guidance. So it's also important to talk about the Imam of our time, because we should learn about all the other 11 Imams as well, but it's more important for us to understand the Imam of our time. So there's a question, what does adhere mean? Is that in the previous slide? Let me check. Okay. Thank you. So the Imam of our time, discussing them, it's just important to understand what's the situation, and what was the situation to know the Imam of our time more. And just as a recap or a reminder, we'll have a topic specific about Imam Mahdi, inshallah. But before the Imam of our time, Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam was the 11th Imam, and if you remember in history, from the first Imam to the 11th Imam, they had very hard lives, and most of them were killed or poisoned. And the governments at that time were not happy with them, because they were the source of knowledge, and everyone used to just follow them, and their own credibility was undermined. So no one who wanted to be a leader was happy with the Imams, and they always used to treat all the Imams in a bad way. So when Imam Hassan Askari was passing away, Allah always had the plan that there will be 12 Imams only, and Imam Mahdi, sorry, was sent into occultation. Occultation is also the word for ghaiba, or hiding, but there is a huge difference between hiding and occultation. Does anyone know what's the difference between hiding and occultation or ghaiba? Can anyone tell me? The difference between occultation and hiding. Why don't we commonly say that our Imam is in hiding? Anyone wants to attempt? And this is a class and a learning environment. So whatever you think of, if you can just put that forward. If it's right, then it will be accepted. If not, then you learn something new. So yes, Sarah says they are the same. Anyone else? Anyone else wants to attempt? Occultation and hiding, or ghabat and hiding? Okay. So hiding means when you say, for example, that you are hiding somewhere or you're going to go and hide somewhere, that means you'll find a place where no one can see you, and you cannot see anyone as well. In most of the cases, you will just hide somewhere that you will be just somewhere inside or somewhere completely hidden, and no one will be able to tell that where you are. And in most cases, you won't be able to tell as well because you're just hiding. And when you're done, you will come out of that place. So, for example, you go inside a cave somewhere, or go into one of the rooms, in your school or somewhere like that no one can see you and you can't see anyone as well. Occultation is different because occultation means that the people can't see you, but you can see all the people. And that's what Gaibat or occultation means, where the Imam of our time, we can't see him, but he can see us. And in some cases, he might be almost like standing next to us. And we say that he comes to our majlises, he comes to Hajj every year, he comes to Masjid Jamkaran, some of the places which are very common and famous for him. Uh, he comes over there, but we can't see him. But however, he could be right next to us as well. So Imam is in occultation. He was in minor occultation, where some people could still meet him. Then he went into major occultation, where no one can now meet him, but he can meet anyone he likes. We have some duties while he is in occultation. So right now we can't see him, but we have a few things to do. One of them is he's still our Imam. So, like if we were living in a time where, for example, Imam Mahdi was in Kufa or in Sahla, where we will be, you could still be in anywhere in city. I could be in London over here, and Imam could be in Masjid Sahla or in Iraq or in Mecca, anywhere. But we have that belief that he is here and he is still our Imam. Also, we need to be praying for his safety all the time. So, like you meant to pray for your parents, your teachers, your elders, you need to be praying for the Imam as well, because he is also, consider him like part of your family, or even like more important than your family, because of him, everything is available to us. So we say that all the things are provided to us by our parents, but in case of the Imams, the parents were provided to us by the Imam, and ultimately by Allah. So he loves us more than our parents, and Allah loves us more than anyone. So we should pray for his safety, and also we should try and support him in any way possible. So we can't see him, but the way to support him is to gain more knowledge, gain some skills, and be ready for him. So when he does come here, so imagine that tomorrow is the day of Zuhur, and Imam comes into this world, and you know that he is available. What can you offer him? Um, Okay, can everyone hear me? I've got some messages. You can hear me. Sorry, Sister Zainab and Tahira, I think you need to just connect your audio properly, or unfortunately, we'll have to look at the video afterwards. Imam has reappeared, inshallah. And what can we do? We just carry on with our lives normally, or do we have something that we can offer him? And what the things that you can offer him is, you could have knowledge of something specific. For example, you're very good at maths or very good at science, or all your studies you're very good at, and you can give him ideas around that. You could have a particular skill. I don't know, for example, you can fly a plane, for example, or ride a bike, or drive, and you say, okay, mom, I'm a driver and I can drive cars for you everywhere. Maybe you're very good at organizing things, and you can help your mom. I can help you organize things. Whatever you're good at, find out things that you are good at, and what you can offer to Imam. And they don't need to be religious things. They need to be skills. So you would be probably young at this point, but even the young people have got more energies. Maybe you can draw something or write something, but everything that you do, try and become skillful at that, so that you can offer this to the Imam. So when he appears, then you will have something to say to him too. Or if not, then try and learn something new that you can offer him. If you maybe just do like physical exercise and become a fit person, then you can offer him yourself and say, Mom, I'm a fit and healthy person. Ask me whatever you need to do, and I will help in whatever way possible. And another point is about the end of the world and the living Imam. One belief that we have is that Qiyamah cannot come before Imam Mahdi comes into this world. And the only reason for that is that if you notice from the beginning of time, there hasn't been a time where the world is full of justice and peace. Always there were bad people in the world, there were wars, there were killings. There have been good times and bad times, but they haven't been like everything is good. Even if it was the time of Imam Ali or Prophet Ibrahim, or Imam Hassan Askari, Imam Sadiq, any time, all the way from Prophet Adam to Imam Hassan Askari, there hasn't been a time where the world was full of justice and peace. And when Imam comes, he will fill the world with justice and peace, exactly how Allah wants. So the world would be the best place to live in, and then after that, the world will end. So that's one of our beliefs, that Imam would come before the end of the world, and make it an example world, exactly how Allah wants this world to be. Yes, Imam says there's a hadith which says even if that last day an Imam has to come, he will stretch it. Yes, that's true. So again, related to the end of the world, that Allah will not end the world until the Imam is there, because Allah has said and promised to people that he loves justice and he wants justice, but there's never been that time. So one of the tasks for Imam Mahdi is to fill with justice and peace. Okay, that was Aqaid. So we'll have the Kahoot in the end for the assessment. Let's just go through the key points. So Imamat is needed to protect Islam in form of guidance, leadership, and being a link between Allah and the creation. Not everyone can become an Imam. So Imam needs to have certain qualities. Imam is the link between God and His creation. We need to know the Imam of our time. So think of other ways, try and read about it, listen to a lecture, or discuss it with your parents, but we need to understand more and more about the Imam of our time. And most importantly, we need to be ready for Imam. Once you know about our Imam, always think, and I do that all the time, think that Imam is coming tomorrow. What will happen? What will I do when Imam is here? And then you'll know what you need to be ready for. So let's move on to fiqh, and today's topic is hijab. These both topics, Imam and hijab, are in book 6 as well. So if you want to read more from the book, then you can read book 6, fiqh section. and it will have more information about hijab. So I'll start off the discussion with a saying from Imam Khomeini. And Imam Khomeini said, the kind of hijab that Islam requires you to observe is to protect your moral values. What Allah has commanded for both men and women is to protect their true moral values from satanic temptations. So Imam Khomeini explains the concept of hijab in a very nice way, and he says that hijab is to protect your moral values. As soon as the word hijab comes in, and I did a Google search on hijab, and you just find a lot of scarves coming up, and people selling scarf and women wearing scarf, and it looks like hijab only means scarf for women, but hijab is a lot more than just scarves. So hijab means modesty, and also covering as well. So it's not just for your appearance, and so your physical body hijab or how you look like, but it's also in relationships. So who are your, for example, mahrams and non-mahrams? How can you deal with a mahram? How can you deal with a non-mahram as well? There are certain ways that you can do. Allah doesn't say, He says, be deal with a non-mahram with hijab, but Allah doesn't say do not deal with a non-mahram. So you're allowed to deal with them, especially like in the West and also in our families and our communities. We have a lot of non-mahram people we deal with. But as long as we do it with hijab and we protect our moral values, then that's fine. And also in all the other actions as well. Qasim Ali asked about what our cousins would be. I'll come to the mahrams and non-mahrams in a second. So hijab should be in all our actions and not just relationships only. So as soon as you, for example, come across a cousin, you start thinking of is he a mahram or a non-mahram? But if you are dealing with your cousin, so for example, you're doing business with your cousin, or you are helping out someone with your cousin, for example, how would your hijab be in terms of your actions? So what are the moral values? Is lying allowed? Is stealing allowed? Is backbiting allowed? So if any of the moral values or akhlaq is being damaged, then you're not following hijab. And last one, I don't think like most people give too much importance to that. Hijab is also about thinking. So it's not just about actions. So I know how I deal with a non-mahram in terms of relationships and appearance and actions, but how I think about a non-mahram or a mahram as well is part of hijab. So if you do have any bad thoughts about anyone, then that is count as being not following hijab, and this could be in terms of backbiting. So you are thinking wrong about that person, that he should have done this, or he could have done this, or he's a bad person, or you are thinking about a non-mahram without the non-mahram knowing at all in any way, then that's also not following hijab, and obviously that leads to a sin. So this is the list of people. I mean, it's a long list, but we will just cover some of the close relations. I'm sure you must have seen this list in different places, but this list shows all the people that are mahram to you. So for the man, his mother is a mahram, his grandmother and the great grandmother is a mahram, and if you're married, then your daughters and your granddaughters and great granddaughters are your mahrams. And in the same way, you can see for the sisters as well, that your fathers and grandfathers and your sons and grandsons are mahram. In the extended family, your sisters and nieces are are mahrams, and your brothers and your nephews are your mahrams. So someone asked about a cousin, and as you can see, the cousins are not mentioned in mahram chart. So your cousins are now mahrams, and you should observe hijab in front of them in terms of appearance, but in terms of all the other things as well that I have mentioned. Um, okay, so we talked about mahrams in the previous slide. Can people list me three relations that are now mahrams for you yourself? We've talked about mahrams, so think about now mahrams. One of them could be the cousin, but anyone else who is your now mahram? Again, if you are a sister, you can talk about all the men, and all the boys can talk about, yeah. So male neighbors or a non-mahram imam, yeah, correct. Cousins, aunts, husband, father's cousin, yeah. Step brother. Oh, so I'm talking about non-mahrams, and if you look at this chart, then you will see all the mahrams. So ideally they should be not in this chart. Stepbrother, yes, stepbrother is a non-mahram. Yes, stepbrothers, because they are not your, I would say, like blood related brothers, they are non-mahrams. Brother-in-laws, yeah. Yeah, one parent is the same, but not both parents. So that's different. Okay, good point. So yeah, thank you. I think you all got the point. It's let's just look at some more points, and then we'll conclude this section. So in terms of hijab, just another reminder that people think that, and this is for sisters and brothers both, that when you are at home and you are um, if you are at home and you are with your family, for example, like your uh, mother and father and your brothers and sisters, you don't have to worry about hijab there. Hijab, as I said, is means modesty and moral values, and not just appearance. It is appearance, but it is other things as well. So when you are at home, it doesn't mean that you don't need to cover yourself up and just wear some, I don't know, indecent type of clothing, or start thinking bad about your fathers and brothers. And similarly for your sisters, if you're a boy. So at home, hijab still applies. It's not just outside of home concept. So and the same way where how you have to observe hijab with a mahram as well. Hijab with non-mahrams is a clear concept, with an appearance perspective, and also with your thoughts. You need to be very careful. And there's a section mentioned in the book about hijab during salah, and that's an interesting concept, because we talk about humans and dealing with the humans in terms of relationships. But what about hijab with Allah? So when you are praying, then you are in front of Allah, you're not in front of any of your relations. and being respectful in front of Allah, and have a good intention, and making the place clean. All those things count towards hijab with Allah, and being honest as well. So with Allah, you can't make up things or tell lies, because He knows about everything anyway. So salah and fasting and anything that you do for Allah and not for people, hijab applies in that time too. Now there is an ayah mentioned over here from the Holy Quran in Surah Nur. It says women should place their scarf over them, and there is a special emphasis of women and hijab, and that's why that's become a more common concept as well, because women are more respectful. They are they need to be treated in a lot more. I don't not saying like men should not be treated nicely, but they need to be treated with a greater respect. And for example, your mothers and your sisters and your daughters, and any other woman who is a sister for you within Islam, they need to be treated especially, and hence, and Allah gives special importance to the woman as well. Then Allah mentioned that the woman should, specifically, the woman should place their scarves over them, and there's a huge emphasis on that. So, what we understand from this verse is that men should be mindful of their hijab, but women should be mindful a lot more on their hijab, because of because of Allah giving that this a lot more importance, and the fact that we need to respect them, and also the possibilities, if they're not observing hijab, then the things that could go wrong are a lot more than what can happen to men. So I'll just pose a question at the end. How would you dress when you're going somewhere or meeting someone special? And answering this question would make you remember hijab. That when you are about to go somewhere special or you're meeting someone important, then you dress properly. You think, what you're going to do, and you have a plan on how to do it. So hijab is required by Allah as it's a fixed topic, so it's a mandatory thing, and not following hijab is a sinful act. So be mindful of your thinking and your actions in terms of hijab going forward. So we'll have the Kahoot now, and just quickly go into the key points. So hijab means being modest and covering up. Hijab should be inside your house and outside. You should know the list of your mahrams. So hijab applies to both boys and girls. And due to more respect, girls should take extra care of hijab. And Imam Sadiq was once asked, what does hijab actually means? And Imam replied that the only place that woman should not cover is her face and two hands. So in terms of physical hijab, all other parts of a woman should be covered apart from the face and two hands. Okay, we're going to go on to Kahoot now. And when you are ready to join, the number is on your screen. Okay, can everyone see the number? Okay, great. I can see people joining, so looks like you have got the numbers. We have 7 people today, so I'll wait for the 7 to come on, and then inshallah we can start. Okay, if anyone's having problems or they would like me to wait for a bit, let me know. Good, good, good. We got most of the people. One more person, and then we'll be good to go. Let's see who hasn't joined in. Perfect. Okay, Qasim is there. Okay, so we are going to make a start now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We need an Imam. Why do we need an Imam? Because we need a bit of extra help. We are dependent on him. He's the source of guidance for us. Yes, that's correct. So Imam is a source of guidance for us. Thank you. Imam runs the world. Should be an easy one for everyone. Oh, yeah, the answer is true. I mentioned in my lesson that all the affairs of the world are run by the Imam, because he is the link between the humans and all the creation, in fact, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's true that Imam runs the world. Okay, Zainab goes on the top. Imam is an Imam for humans only. This should be an easy answer. Yeah, yeah, that's false. Imam is an Imam for all creation, not just for humans. Sister Sarah is on the second place now, and Imam third. Well done, both of you. Qualities of Imam are: he has direct contact with Allah, he's aware of all needs of mankind, he's sinless, or all of them. Yeah, good answer. All of these are correct. Imam Mahdi is in occultation because, why is Imam in occultation? Because when he comes, he will fill the world with true justice. He's in occultation because people will kill him. Yeah, good. So Allah is waiting for that true justice to be implemented, and when Imam comes, he is going to fill the world with justice and peace. The world can end before the Zuhur of Imam. That's false, yeah. Okay, Mushtaba moves on to the second place. Question 7. Imam Khomeini said, hijab that Islam requires is to cover face and hands, not to talk to non-mahrams, to fight for justice, or to protect moral values. Yes, Imam Khomeini specifically said that the hijab Islam requires is to protect moral values. Qasim Ali moves on to the second place, and Hassan to the third place. Question 8. It's okay not to be in hijab in front of your cousin as you grew up with him. That's false. Yeah, cousin is a non-mahram. If you have been together all your life and you spend the same, you grew up in the same house, did everything together, but when you become baligh, you have to observe hijab with each other. Okay, question number 9. Imam Sadiq said hijab is to cover what? Head and feet, face and two hands, one hand and face, or the whole face. This is for women. As Imam Sadiq said, woman hijab is to cover face and two hands. Okay. So then I'm still on the top. Hassan comes to the second place. Who should take extra care of hijab according to Quran? Elderly people, girls and boys, young people, or girls? Like one person is still thinking. Okay, didn't answer in the end at all. So yes, according to the Quran, the girls are given special emphasis about hijab. And the final result is, in the third place is Qasim Ali. Well done, Qasim. Hassan, 8 answers as well in the second place. And Zainab is in the first place with 9 out of 10 answers. And runners up are Iman and Maryam. So well done, all of you. Okay, let's come to our presentation again. And we end with the dua for our holy Imam. Inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You can read with me together. اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. May Allah hasten the appearance of Imam Zamana as soon as possible, inshallah. So our next class would be next week, Saturday, the 20th of June. And until then, we pray that may Allah keep us safe and everyone safe until then. And I will see you next Saturday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.